Welcome to Fisher Webinars. The following is a recording of What Drives Investments in the Pulp and Paper Industry Part 2, originally recorded on Thursday, November 3rd, 2016.
This is the second part of what drives investment from our side, the webinar, and here are the topics we should cover today: currency changes, export opportunities, new technology, regulation, and so on. And I want to highlight a couple of things. All data we have here, almost all data is from Fisher software, and it really goes far deeper than what for obvious reasons what I'm showing you today. And then other thing is that I'm not trying to find full answers for you, because every case is different, and we should find answers for your case specifically from your direction and from your point of view. But some ideas I hopefully can share with you. So let's start with currency exchange changes and ratio changes. And here is Russian ruble currency changes in a couple of years, and we can see that it's very favorable for Russians to export in other countries. And here we can see in European comparison that Russia is actually a cost leader in every major grade. So one could imagine now that there will be a series of investments to Russia, and Russia is investing heavily. And actually, to some scale, this is true. Since Soviet Union collapsed, there was a dry season in investments in Russia, but now investments are booming up again, and this favorable cost structure is definitely supporting the change. I have listed here one recent rebuild in Arkangel's paper that just announced few weeks back. Okay, but there are some difficulties down the road still. Lack of infrastructure to get this vast fiber raw material that Russia has, and interest rate is very high. It's getting down all the time, but it's still in a level of 10%. Lack of capital is traveling out from Russia, not into Russia now. So this might require foreign partners to investments happen. Technology from other countries might require export guarantees for those providing this technology: Finvera, Euler, Hermes, Svensk Credit are type of companies that do this. And then, like we all know, that unpredictability of regulations and legislations in Russia prevents foreign investments. Russia hasn't developed its systems to the level that it convinces foreign investors to put money there. And all this summarized that the first those production cash costs that looks cheap, they can be not so in reality. Like here I have compared Russia, Canada, Finland and Sweden for market pulp, and if we would consider new greenfield Siberia location pulp mill to be built, and raw material costs would be higher than in existing mills because of lack of infrastructure. Okay, and this interest rate can be up to 100 and plus euros per produced ton, with $2 billion dollars for $2 billion investment. But there are some serious cases. Svesa Pulp to Vologda region and Cyberwood to Krasnoyarsk. And Cyberwood has already signed some sort of preliminary agreement about joint venture with Chinese partners, and Svesa is looking for special treatment for taxation and the infrastructure from Russian government, and Russian government to some extent has announced that they will ease investments to happen. So government can subsidize timber harvesting cost, tampage cost, and build new infra to support these investments, and Chinese and or other foreign partners may come and do joint ventures. So then you would come up with lower cost capital and low cost virgin, low cost fiber raw material, and this will change the situation dramatically. And to mention that there is ever-growing demand for pulp in China. Here we can see in smaller frame overall capacity development in Russia, and on bigger picture there is announced project for market pulp. But to my estimate, these announced projects will not be launched and start up with the pace that has been announced, because years has gone and nothing really has done, and it will take some, say, 4 years before tomorrow started project will be in production. So export opportunities, there are many reasons why to export. Here are few listed, but one interesting thing is that typically mills and companies want to export to new markets to cover fixed costs in that operations have to carry, so that they can kind of give better lower price for exported grades, because it will ease their fixed cost coverage in operations. But for bigger producers this is not so easy to make, because they will ruin the market prices at the same time. Okay, in China capacity is growing quite significantly, and this means there has been built overcapacity to many grades actually, but luckily same Chinese has built overcapacity to world overseas freight containers too, and this has reduced the price significantly. So here is coated wood-free as an example where Chinese can deliver competitively to many directions. And one interesting thing is that when I was looking this data, and I saw that in a lot of grades Chinese production cash costs, like we list them in Fisher, that any subsidies and compensations are not put into our cost benchmarking, because idea is that you can compare the actual costs without any of these happening from mill to mill, country to country, line to line. And Chinese cash costs for many grades aren't actually exactly so competitive as we have used to believe, but in China they have ways to overcome these kind of practical problems, it looks to me, because they are exporting. Then one other example, how to export actually to own markets. Here are uncoated wood-free companies producing uncoated wood-free in North America, and their mill sites in same grade overseas. And I have taken 3 IP mills here in comparison, and we can see that actually Svetogorsk in Russia can deliver to Baltimore cheaper than Georgetown, and basically all other North American producers can, and this is very significant. And if we think investment drivers, and IP certainly takes to account when it decides where to put investments, these kind of things. Very interesting point. So what this means in larger picture, what I'm trying to describe in this graph is that if you are not considering that global paper producing selling market touches you because you are local, oh boy, you are wrong, because you are not local anymore, because those other companies, other suppliers from overseas, they may enter your market if it's not protected any given day. So here we have all companies. This graph is set so that the lower right hand, upper right hand corner represents those weakest players. They have biggest risk and lowest possibilities to do changes in their operations compared to some stronger players. And this is relative. Best is 0 theoretically, and worse is 10 on both vertical and horizontal axis. But very interesting, and you can go deeper into this and make other more detailed comparisons, and they lead to new questions, and Fishersolve actually can answer those questions too. One other interesting exporting opportunity is folded boxboard, because there is no FBB production in USA. So companies like Metsä Group has taken this advantage, and they are now invested to Husum mill, and Husum is producing boxboard, and like their own web pages say, there is one vessel that leaves Husum for North America on weekly basis. And SPS and FBB are kind of similar products. SPS mainly produced in North America and Japan, but here we can see that there is no new capacity built on SPS, but for FBB there is new capacity built in recent years, and there are new capacity to be built. And actually I just referred to Russia, and last week Kama mill announced that they will start FBB production also in Russia, 350,000 tons new project. And FBB has similar end product characteristics than SPS, but it has advantage in weight, same approximately 7-10% less fiber is needed to make similar boxes for end users. So FBB is gaining ground in North America most likely, more than just this Husum. But Husum was first to make this move. Then some other ideas. Slovakian government preliminary has promised Mondi that it will give 49 million euros subsidies to Rosenberg containerboard machine project. This is not official yet, but if we look what is the labor and energy costs compared to other European countries in Slovakia, and this makes this project very attractive for Mondi's point of view, in my opinion. So then, technology-driven opportunity. I've taken example of European printing and writing that is declining grade, and in this case there is typically cost reduction, operational efficiency, and efficiency development in main focus, and capital spending is typically limited, and assets will age due to this, because profit margin in these products doesn't allow investments to be made. These are companies, there is roughly 30 million tons in this grade, but I would challenge that somebody will be always smarter and faster and better than others. So we will see what happens to this pie of production shares, and will there be some consolidation in the future? I believe there will be. So if we look on grade level, we can see that there has been some investments until 2010, but then it stopped, and there hasn't been any new machines built after this time. And how about rebuilds then? Almost the same. There has been very few rebuilds, and technical age of equipment is getting older all the time. So I would assume that somebody will move on and will make rebuilds and will be successful in doing so if these people and companies, they have right data to support their strategic decision making. So one way to look at these aging assets is to put them against each others and see what is the productivity of each line. And here we have tons per inch production comparison by country level, by grade and by country, and we can see that Germany, what we generally believe is in top of this, is actually not in a lot of the grades, and this is relative comparison. So actually, lower the number and better you are. This is relative number, but with Fisher-Solve tool, this is just to illustrate the potentials, and if you want to go deeper to look at what there really is, you can have these actual numbers also. But to demonstrate the differences, this relative graph is very good. Now, where to invest, to what to invest, and I have taken one example of new technology that can be a game changer, and it's aqua layering technology for head boxes, where you can have many advantages, like put into the layer some cheaper raw material, cheaper fillers for printing and writing machines, make a great conversion to a container board, for example, having two plies with a single former, and save chemical costs. Put your wet starch to the aqua layer, and so on. Here is actually a collection of what grades and how they could benefit from this kind of technology. And there can be actually huge savings if, say, manufacturer of this technology says that there can be a 30% wet and starch savings, and we can see starch consumptions by line by line in wet and in size press, and here is just some examples what is the cost per ton and annual spend for random lines I have selected here, and take 30% of this, and you will start to find payback for such investments already. Okay, and there are some maybe other benefits, but you need to talk to a supplier themselves to find out more if this is to your interest. Then we can look at the productivity by production by mill employee per year, and here I have European virgin fiber integrated mills in comparison, and we can see that Finland, Belgium, Germany, Sweden are among best performers in this. And of course there are many reasons why some of the countries or companies or mills or lines, you can look this from different direction, but for this presentation purposes I have chosen country level. We can see that those countries that are high on the productivity list, they have recently rebuilt their control systems, and this makes sense. You have a new automation system and your productivity is improved. So these kind of calls to the data you can make. So how about low-cost capital then? We learned that in Russia interest rate is high, but there are actually some countries at the same time, surprisingly, that has a negative interest rate. Countries like Japan, Sweden and Switzerland, I think, today are in this category. And Austria is also one of the low-cost producers, and I have taken example that they have invested to printing and writing. They have acquired a Raupling mill from Mondi that makes corrugated medium, so they are quite rapidly growing their capacity since 2013, when they purchased the SCA Lagerhen mill, at that time producing SC paper, and now they have announced that they will convert the PM10 to produce linerboard, and PM11 also SC line to invest into this SC production, and these are kind of brave moves in today's world where printing and writing capacities are shrinking, and the question is that how Heinzel is able to do something like this, and low-cost capital is one answer, but doesn't give the full picture. And I have learned that Heinzel Group is actually trading million tons plus more paper globally than what they are producing themselves. So they have more than 1,000 sales guys, and they have connection to markets all over, and they know what market demands and opportunities are, maybe better than those who are just sitting in middle of woods to produce some paper and hoping somebody to buy it. Okay, this is maybe not fair comparison, but you get the picture. And PM11 in Lagerken is speed limited and maybe to some extent quality limited too. And they are, if they would get both more speed that the machine itself allows and more close, and better they would be able to compete against LWC. I have put here coated mechanical and uncoated mechanical grades in Europe in cost comparison, and when SC paper gets so much cheaper than LWC, it starts to sell more, and when the quality meets it's getting closer to LWC, and it also sells better. And I think this is in Heinzel Group's target side, that they will do both and they will improve their SC quality, so they will be better in peer group in SC alone, and they are better positioned to compete against LWC grades. Okay, then consolidation. Like we all know, Europe is very fragmented in every major grade, and very little has been done. Heinzel Group here in small scale was one example that capacity is getting fewer hands, but North America is less fragmented. Like we also know this, there has been some great changes, and here is one company, SP Fiber Technology, listed in red, that first was acquired by GE Capital, then converted its newsprint machines in Dublin to Georgia to testliner and corrugated medium, and then later on was sold, acquired by Westrock. And this is one of the better graphs I have ever pulled out from Fishersol, because one picture here tells more than 1,000 words, in this sense that if you look this IP and Westrock, that they are somehow head-to-head in same markets, and what is the situation and how Westrock can improve its market position, because a lot of their fleet actually is too far on the right, and in this comparison I'm comparing capital and cash costs to combined against all factors, so I'm putting more weight on cost structure in this competitive comparison, and SPFT was very competitive in both ways, so good addition to Westrock's fleet. By the way, looking this European data in same way, and you can find these opportunities that there might be. One interesting thing in talking about European linerboard producers, is that most of the companies operate in one country only. There are many countries, even small countries in Europe, but still most of them operate in one country only. This was a big surprise to me. There is actually Smurfit Kappa that operates in 15 different countries, and in my opinion this gives you a good competitive edge against others in terms of logistics, capital available, these investment subsidies in countries like Slovakia, like we learned before, technology upgrades to where it really matters, and all sort of things. You can manipulate your assets in all different ways and get best benefits from where they are available. compared to those who operate only in one country. And this can be a driver for consolidation because there is low cost available now, but are some companies who might be one owner, one mill, one machine in one country, they aren't capable of doing this or not willing or whatever reason, and others could be. So is there consolidation going to happen this way? I have then here put the same tons per inch comparison on testliners in Europe, and this is also again relative, so that best is in zero. So the best performance in capacity per inch of the machine width is lowest, is really the best, and low performance are high on the curve. And then I have highlighted those lines that has shoe press. And so you can see this one line there that is gray and is in relatively low position, that is kind of yelling for put shoe press on me, I will be extra profitable, extra productive after this. And there are actually some lines that are considering to add another shoe press, not only one, but put to rebuild another one. Okay, so here are now all medium linerboard producers in comparison, and we can see that the bigger lines, bigger producers showing the bigger bubble size here, they are in low left-hand side, and they are most competitive in this comparison. And then there are some underperformers from both directions, and possibilities to survive or develop are limited. But then there are some lines that has poor asset performance in terms of size, technical age, tons per inch, but good cost structure. So is there something that can be done for those lines? It's a good question, and going further details will give answers. Okay, duties, legislation and regulation in Russia and its effects I little bit explained already. Here is one other interesting case of duties. US government set countervailing duties for Canadian supercalendered paper producer a couple of years back, and because US operators were claiming that there will be job losses because they are dumping prices from Canada, and duties were implemented. And here we can see country level comparison by grade, by mill site. Each bar represents grade and mill site, and we can see that UP and Madison at the time these countervailing duties were implemented was highest cost, and there was some 1.8 million tons produced. So very little that it did for UPM Madison, because it's no longer in production, even though those duties has been executed. And here we can see situation now between the Canadian and US producers, and US producers are still highest cost except one mill site further in the south. Okay, but good news for UPM anyway is still that UPM can import overseas, export from overseas without suffering these countervailing duties like Canadians are. And here are cost benchmarking with delivery costs to Baltimore and these countervailing duties included to Canadian producers' cost structure. And we can see that now the levels are pretty even between Canadian and US producers. So in this sense, countervailing duty is effective. Yeah, one thing about this amount of these duties varies company to company. It was something like a little bit below 920 for Irving paper, and Resolute, if I remember right, but for Catalyst it was 20 point something, or roughly you could say 20% on top of the export prices. And then one other interesting development is, of course, climate agreement. People are talking about it all the time, everywhere. And finally, US and China joined Paris Climate Act, and here I have a comparison in this graph that how much they are emitting in paper industry in country level. And we can see that China has almost double emissions compared to US, and this is vastly because US has lots of byproducts, like you can say politically correctly nowadays, that produces black liquor, produces energy for many paper integrated pulp and paper sites in US, and China don't have virgin-based fiber production so much, and plus they are mainly using coal as energy source for own production and for purchased electricity in China. Here I have a breakdown of how much they spend money and what is the breakdown for raw materials. And oil and coal are representing more than half of all energy resources in China. So coming back to this level, and China is producing something like 130 million tons of pulp and paper products annually, and in European Union we have something like 7 euros, 6 euros fluctuating in this level is this carbon emission allowance price. And they don't want to say tax because it's difficult to get rid of taxes once they have been implemented, but the emission allowance price is around 7 euros. In UK it's actually more than 20 euros because UK has set the floor price for emission allowances so that it would really be effective. But either way, 130 million tons of pulp and paper productions, and if you even put 5 euros cost, it's a significant amount of money, and it will drive technology changes for less emitting technologies in China. And this obviously provides good opportunities for those technologies like biofuels that has been developed elsewhere, and China has very little this technology. Okay, some conclusions from my side about this, and I would say there are opportunities everywhere all the time, but you need to have right data, you need to have right timing, and you need to be in right place. But this doesn't happen by itself. You need to have data to support this. And interestingly, Jeff Immelt, CEO of General Electric, said already years ago that one day data around our machines will be more important than machines themselves. And I would say that especially because in North America there hasn't been too much investments recently, it is more important than ever to have right data. But this is of course a global phenomena, that right data to support your decision-making process will be crucial. And for all of you who are listening, I have good news. We have lots of this type of data that can support you, and consulting services also. Another thing is you have to be global, at least in your thinking. If you don't, someone will come out and eat you from markets. This is definitely something we are going to see in the future. And you can't predict future for too long. We have been trying to do this in pulp and paper industry, and look at what has happened, how world is different than it was, say, 15 years ago. But 15 years ago, some people were confident to say what's going to happen by 2030. And now we know that this was false assumptions. And best opportunities, they are hardly ever on one advantage or understanding what's happening right now, and we need to react where the world is now. It is not so. The best opportunities are when you see what's behind the corner and you are first one to understand this. So I would challenge all of you to consider that what level of data utilization in your decision-making process you are now, and we have made this kind of leveling map for these purposes, that what could be there, what happened, what rapid actions needed, why it happened, what if this trend continues, what is best that could happen for me with the facts that I have now, and how we can improve. And we are more than happy to help you in this process if it draws any conclusions to this direction that more data is needed.